Hi guys, and welcome back to Scott Minis. I'm your host Scott. Just welcome you guys back to another one of my videos looking at alternative companies for all your miniature needs. Remember to hit that subscribe and like button, guys, and also give me some feedback as well in the comment section. Always interested to know what you guys think of what my videos need to be looking at. Miniature wise, different companies out there, always let me know. Having a look over today's video, I came across this company called Wargames Foundry. It's on www.wargamesfoundry.com. Really interesting, cool UK based company that produces, would you actually believe, X Citadel miniatures. Now, the story behind this actually goes that the guy who originally started this company knew the original founders of Games Workshop, and he basically when they changed over from their rounded bases to slotted bases, the guide actually encouraged this owner, this Wargames Foundry, to get into miniature building line. And what they managed to get was a lot of X Citadel miniatures. It was just a really, because when I first looked at this, I thought it just looks really. I wonder what sort of cool miniatures, because I think I can remember from a couple of years ago looking at very early Citadel stuff. Have a look at you. Some of you guys might know this, but might not know this, and some of you might. But Games Workshop used to, or Citadel Miniatures used to produce Judge Dredd models. They're pretty rare now, but they also did things, just loads of different kind of various miniatures. I actually, when I was having a look over this, I did manage to have a quick look at the sci-fi fantasy, and it was the street violence one that kind of stuck out to me a little bit. For you guys that are playing things like Necromunda, those sort of things, or if you want to play like a kill team, these would be right up your street. There was one here I saw, where was it? Fat Lucy's Street Girls. A kind of like an extreme version of the Escher gang. I mean, for me, I had a look at the price first of all and was like, that looks great. That's working out probably about £2 something per miniature. Really cool, really individual looking. Love it poses. Love everything about those models. And plus, as well, you can kind of paint them up in your own kind of paint scheme. Get into kind of whatever you want to do with those, to be honest with you. So having a look over some of their other lines, you got factory staff as well. Again, brilliant for making dioramas out of some of these miniatures. I see one of them's actually got a Tintin t-shirt on. That was done by the designers there. Just really cool individual models. The SWAT Team Alpha was another one I really liked as well. They were kind of, these models, what they're kind of reminiscent of, I always found, was they're reminiscent of a lot of 90s sort of vibe to Games Workshop range. What I sort of picked up on was they're just the overall style and the kind of face and everything else. I remember Games Workshop releasing quite a lot of these individual kind of models. You had the kind of, I'm trying to think the name of them. They're like a fancy battle mercenaries that you could get. So much individual character, but these would be so phenomenal in your games of Necromunda. You could kind of make them, or kill team. You could have this SWAT Team Alpha right there with a Gene Stealer cult coming in to try and attack them. It just looked great. Really impressed by their pose. You know, just absolutely loads and loads of kind of individual kind of things you can buy from this company. Just so different and just something really out there. Obviously, they do a lot of kind of historical, all the way up to kind of World War II, modern sort of warfare miniatures. Just the usual sort of thing you can see in most of these companies. World War II, that's my kind of more favourite miniatures there. Really awesome. You know, if you love your games of bolt action, be great to actually have incorporated into that. Yeah, loads of cool things there. Let's have a look at the Germans as well, because I love it. You know, you can buy, if you can get some of the Panzer tanks and have some of these guys running up beside them, be looking pretty cool. So again, price great, couldn't complain with that. The German sentries, this was one that kind of jumped out at me a little bit, like this one here. This was your one with the dog obviously attacking or barking at some British troopers there or American troopers. You know, you can make so many cool dioramas out of that. If that's your thing, or if you want to use them in your bolt action games or any other kind of wargaming based in World War II, you could easily do it. You know, you've got your German troops with the heavy weapons as well. This is the one thing as well I wish Games Workshop actually did more of. More of the characters lying down. The thing is with Games Workshop, they've usually got a tendency to have their miniatures either in crouch position, bent over, or standing up. They don't ever have them lying down like that, and it's quite. That's what I really wish they did do. Something like if they maybe had their snipers, if they had them going into the crouch, lying down position like that, taking aim, it would look like so cool to do. It takes a long time to be able to convert a miniature to be able to do that. A lot of pinning, a lot of green stuff you've got generally put in where you've had to cut away the miniature to make him lie down like that. But again, these looked really smart, really cool looking, and not a bad price as well. Um, you know, you've got things like the downed German aircrew as well. Having a look over the kind of more British side as well. Let's go into that. So World War II, and then go down and go into your British. There was one or two miniatures that kind of stood out to me. I was just like, ah, oh, they look really awesome. And it was these guys here. It was the Home Guard on bicycles. I absolutely love that. It's just so different to anything that I'd ever seen. My biggest fear with a lot of miniatures when I'm buying them in is when I'm transporting them, and I'm always scared in case they've got like quite thin bits to them, because I know fine, you know yourself, you're taking your miniatures along in your box, your carry case, and undoubtedly it might be a bit get snapped off, and I feel so gutted when it happens to any of my miniatures. This would be the only thing that kind of put me off of this, but I suppose if you pat them up really well you could easily do that. Again, just so cool looking, nothing else like that out there, really smart looking, so I like those. Again, 20 quid, pretty reasonable cost. Postage wise, I will mention as well, couldn't really see anything on there. Again, UK based company, I would just sort of base it on what most of these companies are doing, you know, £3, £4, £5, something like that. Couple of days wait, obviously, clearly because of the delays with what's happening at this moment. And having a look over that, you know, they've even got 2000 AD, I spoke about that earlier on. You know, these are, I've only ever saw these miniatures really, I would say, once. I remember it was a manager at the Games Workshop that I kind of go into, and he happened to show me this, and I was so surprised that Games Workshop had done that. But I love that. I can imagine that if you were clever enough and you had the skill to do it, you could probably green stuff some Arbites in your games of 40k, and mold them into this. Or you could actually buy this Judge Dredd character. It would certainly fit into your games of 40k at 28mm scale. I would absolutely love to see that whole unit of judges as they went out onto the battlefield. It'd be so cool. Unfortunately, I don't think there's rules anymore for Arbites in games of 40k. But I'm sure if you look online, there's bound to be something there. Having a look over, so Congo as well, which is pretty different. You know, it looks like it's a individual game. You know, get to go in and obviously buy your really different models there as well. Looking at this, the Sultan of Zanzibar. I have starting to build up quite a large Imperial Guard army. I've based on kind of more desert troops and stuff like that. I'd love to have a squad just like this. You know, you could obviously make them whatever you wanted, make them like a veteran squad, something so cool and so different to them as well. I really like them. But yeah, so and £36 for quite a number of miniatures is a pretty good bargain. And this is the thing as well, when I've been making these videos, I've noticed a lot with where Games Workshop used to be back maybe about 10-20 years ago to where they are now. And what I'm finding is they're still producing good individual miniatures, but back maybe 10-20 years ago they weren't just going for generic stuff. So what I find now is they're kind of more trying to get, because Games Workshop is becoming such a popular company and it's opening up more to a mainstream, they're having to kind of hit more of that mainstream. That's why Space Marines are always pushed all the time, you know, and these individual cool looking models that they used to do, fortunately it's not really getting done anymore. Yeah, character models and stuff like that, yeah, they're getting made out there, but it's not to the volume of what they used to do. And certainly for me, I'm more of a fan of the kind of late 80s, early 90s Citadel models that you got. Well, there's nothing wrong with the newer stuff, don't get me wrong, the newer stuff is absolutely phenomenal, but when you look at the earlier stuff, that's kind of style I quite like. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, I really love the dwarfs as well, which were absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, so Foundry, wargamesfoundry.com. It's well worth a look, and obviously you can go in. And the last sort of bit I was going to show you as well, you know, heading more into Age of Sigmar, I remember the Empire Army. Now, the newer stuff that's came out from Games Workshop, I noticed, it's not really catering back to those sort of days. It's heading off in quite a weird direction, Age of Sigmar. It's written off a lot of the older stuff, obviously with Fantasy Battle, which was just, I couldn't understand it personally, why they went down that route of pretty much wiping off that entire game. And it looks like it's hinting at it's coming back again. I preferred it when you could have your troops in rank and file, big units of that. There was nothing more impressive than seeing maybe about 100 units all formed up into their square or rectangle formation and charging them out across the battlefield. Whereas now it's more individual, it's like a 40k game where you can individually put your models wherever you want. That's not for me. I've played Age of Sigmar before, wasn't really impressed with it. I've always went down the route of buying the 40k range. But if you, like I say, if you're a fan of Age of Sigmar and you want some of the older style models, then this is certainly the place to go. This Foundry, I had a look at, see with this, I did have a look over, it was the Gunners in Great Gun, and I seem to remember there was a, I can't remember the name of the weapon it was. It was like a cannon that it had like multiple barrels to it. Maybe some of you guys can comment in the section there and let me know what it was. But there was an Empire model that had like loads and loads of gun barrels to it, and what it does, it fired about just about 1,000,000 shots at whatever it was coming in. And those were back in the day when you could scatter your shots as well. But I absolutely loved this sort of looking style miniature. What I've always wanted to do, obviously you can tell by my accent, I am from Scotland. One thing I did have a look at doing before was possibly making up a kind of Highlander regiment. Now, with that sort of style, you can obviously go and get these guys and make it into kind of like an Edwardian sort of army. And I just thought it would just look so cool. I mean, I would certainly pay £18 for that. That's going back. It's a really reasonable price on the website for whatever you want to buy. You've got your mercenary characters as well. Just clicking into them. I'm going to look at all those guys, with their pikes. Really, really cool. Personally, I would try and chop it off at the very bottom of the leg, get that bases off and get them onto square bases and have them all going in rank and file. But yeah, that was really, really cool. You can obviously tell, you can come onto the website itself and just have a look over. Do quite a fair range of stuff. Do their own paints as well, which was pretty interesting. Having a quick look on there. Paints, I would say it's where you want to shop around. Me personally, I always buy it's Army Painter paints. I was pretty standardly buying Citadel paints for a lot of years, but I ended up switching over to Army Painter because I found the price was about half the price. You were getting a much bigger range as well. But yeah, so check it out, guys. It's like I said, www.wargamesfoundry.com. And remember to subscribe and like as well on my videos, and give us some feedback whether or not it's good or bad. But yeah, check it out, guys, and we'll speak to you next time. Cheers again, guys. Bye.